Well, what's going on, Clipper fans? It's Jonathan Timm here, back with a preseason player interview, and we are proud to announce that there is a third returning Clipper already to this year's count. He is currently a sophomore at Chattanooga State Tech Community College. He was a star middle infielder last season, and you found him pretty frequently in the leadoff spot. And of course, some call him T-Head, but we know him as Taylor Head, and he is back and ready to go for the 2026 campaign. Taylor, welcome back to the team, and how's it going? How's the fall treating you so far?
Been good. We play a lot of baseball here in JUCO Chattanooga. Play a lot. So I'm a little tired, but just kind of working through it. It's been good so far. It's been good.
You know, in college sports, especially football, everyone knows spring football. They have the big game that kind of rallies and centers around everything. But for baseball, fall is that spring to this specific sport. And further the viewers on how important that is for you players to develop.
Yeah, I think it's really important, especially at the junior college level, because the guys are like sophomores and freshmen, so they're younger, and it's like a big developmental piece, kind of getting you ready for like that transition into college. So the biggest thing is just like getting into the hang of things, like getting to know your teammates and like figuring out who you are as a team. So it's really important part of kind of it's like the off season, but it's really not.
Speaking of the off season, what did you do to spend your August? I mean, the season ended on a rather low note, which we will get to in just a second. Of course, that has been a favorite question amongst Clipper Nation. But, season ended. How did you treat yourself during the month of August, and when did you have to go back to Chattanooga State?
Well, I think I had like I think I had probably like 3 or 4 days of being
Oh,
home.
wow.
I went home, and then that next day I actually drove down to move my stuff. Drove down to Chattanooga to move my stuff from one apartment to the other. So I did that, and then I drove back home, and I spent about 4 days at home, and then had to report down for like the first day of practice about 4 days after I went home. So got right back into it.
Love that. My Tennessee geography is still improving, but how far is Cedar Hill from Chattanooga?
It's about 3.5 hours or so.
Okay, okay. I figured Tennessee is a rather lengthy state
Yeah,
in
yeah.
terms of east to west on the map, so had to ask that. So a quick turnaround for you, and were you able to encapsulate the skills that you learned this summer right into fall ball?
Yeah, I feel like I definitely did. Especially like the biggest part was like my defense. I kind of like just loosening it up and playing more athletic at shortstop. I feel like I was able to just roll right in, and I was a lot more comfortable taking grounders and just playing defense right in games. And offensively, we got so many at bats and we played so many games. Like you just feel so comfortable because you don't have that like period where you're not seeing any pitching or anything. You just roll right into it. It's actually pretty nice.
And I think Clipper Nation is pretty comfortable with you coming back to play the shortstop position where you saw the field 37 different times this past summer. And, talk to me, what did it really take for you this past season to develop that consistency and just confidence and reliability day in and day out?
I feel like the biggest thing is like I was trying to take care of my body a lot, so I didn't like I worked out, but it was really just kind of mobility and like keeping my joints going. And I saw you a couple times in there. We were in the road on at the hotels, before games. I would just like to get in there and get moving around a little bit. But I feel like that physically was good, and then mentally, just I feel like Coach B Dub especially was like really he was really good about like kind of keeping my head in the right place. Coach Fleener did a great job too. Coach Fleener was he was a little bit tougher on me, like pushed me to, do certain things, and that was always good. But having that balance of him and Coach Beta was really nice.
Further me on that, because that had to be interesting playing summer ball under the head coach who was an assistant coach for you all of spring. And obviously, we know Coach Fleener is now at Tennessee Wesleyan,
Yeah.
taking on newer endeavors. But how was that going from spring to summer with a familiar face in the dugout?
It was really nice, especially because like I'd never been north of Kentucky like before this, and then coming all the way up to Michigan was like a big step. And a big reason I came was just because I was comfortable with Fleener, and I'd like spent a lot of time with him, and I really liked him as a coach. So I think that was a huge benefit for me. And also we were able to have more like especially like in the like on the field and like on the bus rides and everything. We were able to have more personal conversations just because we knew each other well. I think that was good for, I mean, me and him and probably the whole team.
And do you think that respect for each other gave him some confidence to put you in the leadoff spot? Because, that's an important role, and you clearly had the consistency to get on base on a frequent basis.
Yeah, I think that was a big part of it. You know, he had was able to trust me more because he kind of knew the type of player I was, and like he'd seen me play a lot more than he'd seen everybody else.
How was it then also sharing the field with another Chattanooga State Tech Community College teammate? And I know there were more, but Casey Barnes, that left side of the infield.
It was awesome. Me and Casey, we also lived together last summer, so I mean, it was like we were real close, and we were good friends here at Chat too. I mean, it was nice. We got along real well, and then of course, like your neighbors right there, short and third, so that's who I'm talking to the whole game. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, that was a big part of my summer too. Helped me enjoy it a lot more because I got to spend it, with like one of my best friends the whole time.
And we'll keep talking about the high points of last summer because that's what we're here for. And we'll talk about some of the lower points because last summer was a rather interesting one for the Muskegon Clippers and the league as a whole. But Taylor, the walk-off hit you had on the 3rd of July on a game or in the midst of a game that took a little over 18 hours to complete due to the storm and early start.
Yeah.
So, for you to play late night baseball, then turn around the next day, getting ready for, around, it was 9 innings because there was a 7 inning game to follow, but that was a weird turnaround for you. And you had gotten a base hit earlier that day to keep the game alive. Talk to me about that game in particular, and it was against the Lima Locos, and how cool that kind of was for you and the team.
I mean, it was just. I mean, like you just said, it was just funky because they canceled the game the night before, and our coaches were mad about it, and their coaches were kind of mad about it, and it was just like really weird. And then I don't know. I guess because we were so used to at that point, we'd been there a month, so used to just like turn around, playing the next day, turn around, playing the next day. It wasn't too weird, but I don't know. Just turn around and play the next day, and I mean, like you said, I just happened to have a couple good at bats, put some hits down, and I mean, help us out. It was a little unfortunate though because they dumped all the water on me, and then we still had to play 7 more innings. So that was tough. But
And you had to wear the same jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah,
And upon a further review, yes, you were wearing the white jerseys that day. I got a walk-up video posted on my X profile, which I found if you're listening on podcast forum, we should probably include that in this as well. Another high point I want to talk about is not too long after you guys had that 7 game win streak, which started to, force the rest of the league to believe that, yes, the Clippers are playoff competitors. What did click with you guys as a team? Because, like we said, weird season last year, starting 1-8, that 7 game win streak in July had to have, put your guys' minds in the right place.
yeah. I think it was like at the beginning too was tough because we were kind of trying to figure out how we would be as a team, and everybody's playing with each other, and we started to click. Like I feel like last year was a good group of guys, off the field too. Like we got along well, so I think we kind of hit that stride where we were getting along on the field and off the field. So we just started playing better as a team. And Coach Fleener, I mean, he was coaching good. He made some adjustments to our lineup and like the way he approached like different situations. Um, I think that was the biggest thing is we just started to really kind of mesh well.
And the middle infield, you need to have that mesh and chemistry with the rest of the guys because the communication on double plays has got to be crucial. And Taylor, I'd be lying if I saying you didn't do a great job of that last year, being a part of. I want to say it. We'll have to go to Baseball Reference for this one. I want to say 12 double plays, but talk to me about the importance of communication as a middle infielder and shortstop.
I mean, it's huge. I mean, you always want to be like, that's who you want to throw with before games. You want to warm up with that guy before games. And like, you just want to know everything about each other on the field, especially. And it was kind of weird because we'd have Cole LeClaire there sometimes, Ethan Delgado there sometimes. And then there towards the end, we had Cole who came back from, I guess, last year's team. And so it was kind of weird having multiple guys playing second base with me. But I mean, it is super important to have that relationship, and that's why I just kind of try to have like the whole team in general. I try to have a relationship with like each player.
16 double plays turned. Now that I officially confirmed it via Baseball Reference, thank you for helping out the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League and posting the stats. The Great Lakes League last year, and it's in the rule book. The winning percentage will trump out no matter how many wins or losses a team has when all is said and done. When the Sunday hits, there's no more games to be played, and unfortunately, Clipper Nation got the short end of the
Yeah.
stick last year, a 1,000th of a percentile away from the playoffs. And T Head, does that motivate you and fire you up for this upcoming season?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Like that last weekend we had where the stands were packed the whole time, and that last game going down to the sudden death, and us going in and blowing it up and doing. I mean, we knew we needed a sweep, and we had three hard games that weekend with, like I said, a big crowd. It was, I don't know, that was really awesome to be able to play there for that, and just knowing like we were that close, and we did what we needed to do. It kind of, I mean, it really sucked, because we kind of found out or 2 innings before the game ended, their third base coach had told us, and we were like, I mean, you're kidding me. And so at that point, it was just like play it out because like all these people are here, we gotta win it for them. And it's definitely motivating because even after the start we had that was so bad, we came back and we're in playoff contention. And I know that if we come back next year and just do our thing, I know we'll be able to host a playoff game.
So the Mariners' third base coach broke the news to you guys.
Yes, he did
Wow.
actually.
So, that game ended up going to sudden death. What did motivate you guys to finish on a high note?
I mean, that's what, like I said. I mean, just looking out, the fans were like crazy that night. I mean, that whole series that last weekend, the place was just packed and everybody was like pretty engaged in the game. And I mean, at least for me, I was like, I mean, the fans and Pete, Walt, the whole family that runs it. It's just like, I mean, they worked so hard this year. Like, we're not gonna go out on our own fault, but at least it's gonna be we did what we could at the end.
Yeah, in a 22-20 season, the second most wins in the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League North Division. And unfortunately, for the first time in 3 years, the Clippers fell short of the playoffs. But, one of the big reasons we're having you on early is because, it's exciting when the guys return to the team for another year, especially with how fluid summer baseball can be. And T-Head, you're not alone. Ty Randall and Ben Myers are already two more partners in crime that are coming back. With that in mind, and I'm sure more guys are going to want to return as well. Does that enlighten you guys and light a fire to start being leaders now in year two?
Yeah, for sure. And I think Ty was a leader for our pitching staff last year, and Ben was one of the best teammates we had. I mean, he was awesome. I love Ben. So I mean, I'm excited to be back with those two guys, and for sure, I think it's always good to have guys that are returning that know what the league's like, what the other teams are like, and especially kind of like what it's like to play in Muskegon.
And now the recent news of course, Brian Wright being named the Muskegon Clippers head coach. It's an exciting time. He knows the system. He's been with the organization from day one. Describe the level of excitement for you, knowing that it's going to be that the team is still in very good hands.
I mean, I'm really pumped. I told him, I was like, I promise you, if you're the head coach next year, I'll come back and I'll play. And I've been in contact with him. He's been having knee surgery and he's been doing therapy. And I played playing against Coach Fleener, probably about a month ago. I was sliding into home plate and caught the catcher's cleat on my shin and cut it open. Had to get stitches. So I talked to him about that, and I've just been kind of keeping up with me, watching some of my games this summer or this fall, and I mean, I'm super excited because I was real close with him, and that makes me. I mean, I'm real happy to be able to come back and play for him for sure.
And that's super cool and very admirable of B-Dub. Of course, he's got a lot of time on his hands in the surgery recovery process. No knock on B-Dub at all, but that is very awesome to hear, Taylor. Couple more questions for you. Now, obviously the anticipation of summer baseball is great, but your goal obviously is to keep on pursuing your baseball dreams. And, this is an interesting year for you now with year two of junior college. do you have anything in mind for after the fact, or describe what this process has been like trying to get looks and get that scholarship opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of just playing and posting stuff on Twitter, your swings and stuff. And I've been in contact with some coaches. I'm not too worried. I know I'll be able to play somewhere next year, so it's just wherever I'll end up. But I try to just be able to go out there and just enjoy playing and not kind of put that pressure of like everything matters. I always play better when I'm relaxed, and I learned that a lot. Something I learned a lot this summer too, especially.
And speaking of playing relaxed, I hear that you're quite the barber on the team as well, or at least Nolan Zajac thought so. And he looked pretty relaxed there in the chair on the road trip in Ohio. And bada bing, bada boom, we got a fresh cut on our catcher. Just I didn't know you could cut hair until halfway through the season. And for the fans, by the way, we'll have to attach that picture to this piece. But you're a barber as well.
Yeah, I am. I actually just cut my hair. I like it. I like it to be kind of short, but I learned it last year. Just like I didn't have a barber down here in Chattanooga, and I thought, man, I could probably just cut my own hair if I went short. And then I learned how to kind of fade the sides and everything. And my teammates here, they had thought it looked good, so they asked if I could do it to them. And next thing I know, I'm cutting like 10, 12 guys' hair. So that's just kind of how it developed, I guess.
And you have the most fitting last name, I gotta say, for a nice little side hustle such as being a barber. A couple more questions for you, Taylor Head. Who do you have coming out of the National League Championship Series? As a Brewer fan, who would have guessed I'm a Brewer fan by what I'm wearing right now? But
yeah,
I gotta hear your opinion on this.
I'm gonna have to go Brewers. I've been keeping up with the games. Sometimes I've been falling asleep watching them, but I've been watching them for sure.
Is there a particular player that you try to mimic your play after, or is there a guy you grew up watching and tried to, modernize?
I like Chipper Jones when I was younger, and then now that I've really gotten more into defense and shortstops. I like Dansby Swanson. He posts a lot about on his YouTube channel about what he does glove work wise. So I like Dansby defensively and offensively. I really don't know. I just kind of I don't know. I feel like every time I try to mimic my swing after somebody, I don't hit as good. So I try to just stay simple at the plate and just look to hit a single back up the middle. But I'd say Dansby Swanson for sure. Defensively, I like him.
Trying to be Taylor Head at the plates, and that's all you can be sometimes, and I love that. Couple more questions for you, Taylor Head. We talked about some of the great memories from this past summer. We talked about some of the low points. But for you, what were a couple of the more memorable experiences from this summer?
So I have one bittersweet one for sure. I hit I think it was the bottom of the eighth maybe, and
yep.
the foul grand slam for sure. I mean, hitting it and feeling it off the bat and just knowing, oh, that ball's not coming back, and watching it go hook around the pole. I'm like pumped up, and that turn, and the umpire's calling it foul, which he'd been calling a rough game. So I just like, oh, I mean that one ate at me for a while after for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture of it right now with the ball to the right of the pole, cutting to the edge like a pylon in football. But how'd you shake that one off and try to play the rest of the game still with the same amount of heart, because that had to have been demoralizing, a grand slam taken off the board like that.
It was tough for sure. I mean, and I was upset. I struck out the next pitch. I was just on a pitch that I was like, I kind of disagree with the call a little bit, and I was just, I mean, I let him know on my way back, but then it was just like, all right, we still got to score right here, and we ended up adding on after that. So it took a little bit of like, all right, well, at least we scored, so I just got to go out and play defense, and we got to shut this game out. If we wouldn't have scored and we lost that game, I'd have been much more upset for sure.
What's one piece from this past summer that you're looking to take with you in the next summer? Now that you've been around the block and know the system, enlighten me on that.
Definitely gonna just use a bomb bat this summer. I bought 3 bats. Bought 3 bats coming into the summer and broke all 3 of them. So definitely just gonna go straight to the bomb bat. I started hitting better when I started using it. So.
And that's the wood bat experience.
Yeah.
That's all the time we got for today. But T-Head, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you for the rest of the fall at Chattanooga State Tech. and we look forward to another summer with you at the realm of shortstop.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Clipper fans, to stay up to date on all things Muskegon Clippers related, go to our new website at muskegonclippers.com, where you can find information on how to access tickets to this season, the schedule, which will be released in due time, and for sponsorship information as well. Alongside with Taylor Head, I'm Jonathan Timm saying so long from this Clipper chat, with more returning players coming soon. And again, you've watched Muskegon Clipper Baseball, and as always, we will see you next time.